Thank you, Susie. Joined this morning, Bill Braun. Good morning.
Good morning, Ken.
Always good to have you here right before the fair comes around, because the sawmill display there at the county fair is just incredible. Tell us about it.
Well, it's been there for a lot of years, starting in the 70s. We took over in the early 90s, incorporated in 2000, and been improving the exhibit ever since.
I believe you told me before, there's a story about how they found these pieces somewhere in the hills.
Oh yeah, they found them up there. It was up there in near Hale Road, Dead Man's Creek, that area up there, and it came off an old ranch and had been used and then fell into disuse, rotted away, and a couple guys up there went up and pulled all the steel and iron out and rebuilt it there at the fairgrounds.
Right.
So it's a reconstruction. It's a representation of what was going on 100 plus years ago.
And that's what I was going to ask you. What year we go back to when they used steam power?
Oh, steam power dates back to the earliest parts, the 1850s on through 1940s, before, steam, diesel, and all the rest. I mean, before electric and diesel started taking over everything, Right. Electricity now has the lion's share of all that kind of work. But it was the first step, to where you can get into heavy production of logging and lumber production, and these little mills were all over the hills.
Now, this isn't just a display. This is actually functionable.
Yes, it is.
This setup, and you actually, one of the guys did an Eagle Scout project, and he actually used that saw to cut the wood?
Right. Sierra Pacific Industries donated the logs for his Eagle Scout project, and he built a mine tunnel portal at the Kennedy Mine. It was the old Massa Tunnel, and he built the timbered portal around with it, and Jason McCleary, and did an outstanding job, and we cut the timbers for him, donated all our labor and time, and turned out to be a great project. And we've done other community service type donations of our lumber from the mill.
Sure. It's one of the things that I notice when I'm walking down the Midway. I hear the steam power, and what are you actually hearing when you hear that noise?
You exhaust off the main steam engine,
Okay.
the big coreless, and it's just exhausting the atmosphere, so it's venting, and when the valves open and vents the exhaust, you hear that chuff, 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 chuff sound,
Right.
Yeah, so that attracts people over
I was going to say,
there.
that's probably the only advertisement you need to
Well,
draw
that and a whistle.
Now, steam power, I'm assuming it was a very clean way of producing power?
Well, it was cheap in the days. It was the only power that you could get at that time to produce large volumes of lumber, which was a growing state, a growing nation, and there was a lot of people moving to the west, and they needed housing. The industry needed timbers, and these little mills supplied local needs. They didn't have the transportation infrastructure we have nowadays,
Sure.
like highways and railroads and all the other stuff. So getting into the remote areas, they set up these little mills to supply the local needs.
Right.
And they would drag in the necessary iron and then build everything out of local materials that they couldn't, fabricate locally. They would ship in, the iron and steel parts, and then build the rest of it locally.
Talk about learning from your history, shopping and buying local.
Yes, right. Well, that was
Back then.
that was the earliest. It was out of necessity.
Right. Absolutely. So, what is the heat source, or what actually creates the steam?
We burn the waste wood off the mill in a boiler, generate the steam, which then powers the steam engine, and then that's belted to the sawmill.
Okay.
And then that turns the saw blade, and the logs go through the saw blade, cutting off the lumber, and it's a lot more involved than that, but
Sure.
that's the basic description.
The one that all understand.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so from Thursday through Sunday at the fair, you're going to be doing displays.
Yes, we'll be on display, we'll be running the engine. The shows are at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. each day,
Okay.
and they usually run from about an hour to an hour and a half in length.
Okay.
We have a lot of logs this year. We're cutting some timber for the Jackson City restoration effort on number 4 Kennedy Mine tailing wheel, okay?
Right.
And then we're also providing some other small amounts of lumber for other projects there at the fairgrounds.
Okay.
So it's going to be an interesting year.
Great. Yeah, I think that's just really handy how you can use the old equipment that you brought out of the hills up past Hale Road and put it to work today. It's kind of like it's got to be a hobby, of course, but it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, almost for me, as president of the association, it's got to be a full-time 40-hour-a-week job. It seems like, you know.
Right. It's fun for everybody else, but you have to work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've been retired for 12 years, and I'm still tired.
He's retired. Great, Bill. Again, the times of the shows for the STEAM exposition.
The steam sawmill demonstrations.
Yes.
Yeah, that's at 11 and 3 each day, Thursday through Friday, Sunday.
Okay. And if they can't hear the steam power, let's give them a quick map to where they go.
Well, if they know where the gas engine club is in the back and the mining exhibit in the back, that's where they go. They'll follow the signs. We're having signs out on the midway there.
Okay.
In the main concourse going through the fairgrounds, we'll have signs with arrows pointing over to the sawmill.
Right. Lisa way. Bill, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Cam.
And we'll see you out at the fair.
All right, thank you.
We're going to run to an ad break, and we'll be back. Jim Wilmarth's here to speak with us. Stay tuned.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.